The leaks were true. We are talking about a Spanish chicken farmer who fought the Nazis. If you watched my last video where I talked about America, Canada, and a pig, you definitely probably saw this and paused the video, and I was like, what the heck? But yeah, this is what we're talking about this time. So, context time. As World War II, 1944, it is prior to D-Day. Nazi Germany looks like this. And the Allies have invaded Sicily, as you can see right here. They're pushing through the Italian peninsula, and Germany's cracks are starting to show, especially with Russia starting to push back on the Eastern Front. So, this guy, his name is Juan Garcia. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, or not his middle name. Dear God. Um, he lived from 1912 to 1988. He became a spy during World War II, and his code name from the Germans was Alaric, and he despised Hitler with a passion. Now, excuse me. Now, why would he work for the Germans if he hated the Germans? Well, if my slides will transition, there we go. Okay, so prior to the Second World War, he dropped out of school at 15, so I did better than him. He was a pacifist during the Spanish Civil War between Francisco Franco's nationalist. No, was it national? No, it was Nazi. Socialist. That's what I'm looking for. Against the people who were leading Spain, and they obviously won because they were backed by the Nazis. Tried to become a chicken farmer, failed to become a chicken farmer because I guess he just sucked at chicken farming. I don't really know. And then he went to Madrid to live a citizen life, only to find out that it was chock full of Nazi propaganda, and that's the last thing that you want to see in your country's capital is Nazi propaganda. So he went to the Allies and he was like, "Hey, I want to be a spy," and they were like, no." So he decided to go to Germany, and he was like, "Hey, I want to be a spy." And despite incredibly bad acting skills, he managed to get into the German spy network and was basically like, "Yeah, I can do all of this stuff. I got connections, all sorts of this." He was making all of that up. He made all of that up. And he built a spy ring, which was basically just him, himself, and he forged convincing eyewitness accounts and started just leaking disinformation. And if he ever got into trouble, he would just be like, "Well, this guy got it wrong." The only problem is that this guy didn't exist. The guy that he blamed it on didn't exist. He never actually went anywhere. He just stayed in a hotel in Portugal. So yeah, again, the German Empire looked about like that. Not the German Empire, the Nazi German Empire. German Empire already happened. So yeah, they thought that he was in the center of London, eavesdropping, getting connections, filing reports, sending them to Berlin, which is like right here. But he was actually just in a hotel in Lisbon with his wife, just writing fake reports and sounding incredibly convincing. So eventually, the British did intercept one of his messages, and he's like, "Why is this guy lying so badly?" So eventually they tracked him down and he was recruited by the British, and this began his life as a double agent. He helped fool the Nazis by spying on the British and just continued to spread disinformation while actually getting real information and sending that to the British. He maintained full loyalty to the Allies during this entire thing, and I'm going to move my face cam down here because I think I have another picture. No, I don't. So yeah, the Allies were preparing for Operation Overlord. For all of you normies out there, that's D-Day. Germany believed that what's called a feint attack would happen. Now, for those of you guys that don't know what a feint attack is, it is a military tactic that the Germans were all too familiar with, where a first, if you want to invade somewhere, you would attack somewhere different, a small diversion that would direct troops to that place, and then you would come in with your main force and attack in a completely different, unguarded place. This is what kind of happened, because Juan did convince that D-Day was a distraction and they were actually invading somewhere else. This was partially assisted by the Ghost Army. We will talk about the Ghost Army later. So Hitler diverted his troops and D-Day was successful. I believe that due to the efforts of the Ghost Army and Mr. Juan and, kind of the troops themselves and Hitler, all four of those were the reasons that D-Day was actually successful. So that's the main thing that I want to talk about, is his integral part in the war effort, especially from 1944 to 1945, up until about when Germany fell. He did do other stuff. He did receive the German Iron Cross, that despite spreading misinformation and disinformation among their rakes, they still believed him. And he did do a lot more to convince them that he was a legit spy. And he did end up staging an arrest so that he could peacefully move out of the war, fled to like Venezuela, sent his family back to Madrid, faked his death, got a new wife, and then died in 1988. I don't respect that last part about him, because he faked his death and then got a new wife. But he still had to sell the act, and you know what? I can respect his commitment. So yeah, that is the story of Juan Garcia, and I would like to thank you guys for watching. Just remember to serve God, serve others, and make people laugh. And fake your death, I guess.